Hello, Instagram. How are you? So today, let me adjust this. I come live with my incredible client, Jessa. I'm gonna tag her. Jessa. I don't know if you can tag people. Hi, Rachel. How are you? Hi, Jessa. You are here. Let me see if I can bring you on. Yes. Can you see it? Hi, gorgeous. Hello.
Hi.
You look beautiful.
I can hear Calvin in the background cheering us on.
Yes.
I love it.
He's outside of the door and he's like, meow, let me in. How are you?
Good. So good. I'm so excited to sit down with you and see your face and talk and brag on magnetic branding and your brilliance.
Thank you. So for the people in my community who don't know you, like introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, where are you in the world?
Hi, friends. Hi, new friends. My name is Jessa Glover, those who don't know me yet, and I'm an intuitive business coach. My zone of genius is really the intersection between the woo and the do. So my clients tease, like, you're a master translator of the woo and the do. And I think that sums up what I do perfectly. At the core of it, like if we strip all the words away, I'm a brilliant, soulful sales coach. And I live in Atlanta in the South.
Mm-hmm.
Although my sister is in Spain, which I think is so cool.
Oh, where is she?
She's in Alicante.
Alicante. Okay.
Yeah. She's always sending me like, I'm hiking, look at these beautiful flowers. The lifestyle's so different. I love it. But that's me, and I really serve other leaders and healers. My mission here is to promote healing through entrepreneurship. I think that entrepreneurship is a very spiritual journey. It can be if you allow it to be. And that's me in a nutshell.
You are a mom?
Again?
You are a mom?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm a mom. I have one son. He just turned 5.
Wow.
And so things have been interesting with him being back in school. It's lovely. Because for a while there, he was home. So
yeah,
that was interesting. My partner works with me full time. He's my assistant. But we call him the online business manager. So yeah,
you crack the code. You know, you have your partner working for you, with you. So the best.
And he's a generator. So I'm just like, here's my vision. You run with it, go with it, and then he brings it back to me, and then I guide it. I'm a projector, 6'2", emotional authority projector.
Awesome. So how it's been for you, like discovering you are a projector, start working with your design?
Majorly impactful. Like, it changed so many things. It opened my eyes to so many things. Why, from the time I was a child, I just never had the energy to like be in school. I was medicated very young. In 6th grade, I was medicated because they were like, you know, she's not focused, and she's either way too tired and distracted. And turns out it's just, I'm a projector, which like makes so much sense. And a big piece of the work that we've done together together was just like you, and I went back through my notes a couple days ago from my time in magnetic branding, and basically you're like, you have to rest, like you, like it's a non-negotiable for you. And I come back to that, and there's been so much like learning, deconditioning from that, because I was just, and I'm an older sister, I was a single mom, so like my whole life I've had to work really hard to keep things going. And that was probably one of the most potent things from our time together. Magnetic branding was like, you're like, you have to rest, you have to rest, like nap, sleep, take baths. And I notice consistently when I take naps, when I'm in the bubble bath, the payment notifications just they just come through. And the more I do it and the less I resist to it, the easier it gets and the easier it gets. So that's been huge. Learning about being a projector, and also a big piece of something that you instilled in me and guided me through was like recognizing myself, really recognizing myself, and not looking for the outside recognition and validation and all of that. And then that recognition comes in when I first recognize, like, I'm a badass. I'm really good at what I do. I'm grounded, and I'm here to do this work, like my life's work. And we even, you know, went into the gene keys and stuff as a teacher. And that was like, you know, so it's been really, really, really impactful and powerful for sure.
Hi, Ashley. How are you?
Hi. I see some of our friends. I see Destiny's here, Melinda, Verita. Who else popped in? Hi, guys.
So how it was like before? I know you have been in business for a while, and you know you have worked with different mentors. How it was before for you?
So something that I so appreciated before, I always felt, honestly, and I'm just going to speak 100%, you know, I don't do filters and bullshit. Yeah. So I always felt like I intimidated my mentors. And that they were never bold enough to call me on my shit. And I was always like, what the fuck? Like, I want to be called out. I want to be called higher. And I want to be just like how I do with my clients. Like, I want to be met with that same energy. Like, I'm able to see through and call someone higher very quickly if they're willing to be open, right? And I felt like I wasn't getting that in any, I mean, tens of thousands of dollars in coaching, in different programs and different mentors. And I just always felt like my coaches were, or my guides and mentors were kind of like tiptoeing around with me. And you were just like, no, I see through that shit. So let's unpack that and talk about that. And I was like, I remember coming off a couple of our calls and being like, that was uncomfortable. I didn't like that, but I know I needed it, you know? And so that's what makes a masterful, masterful mentor. And I found the guidance that I had been looking for and wanting.
I remember you did it. I don't remember if it was a real or a live where you were imitating my voice, and you were like, you know, I don't like this, you know.
Yeah, you were like, this is not I'm sensing this is not the program for you. And I was like, this is my baby we're talking about here. Don't tell me this is not the program for me. And it was, you know, through that conversation, we found that it wasn't necessarily that the program wasn't for me. It was that it was misbranded and that I was playing small. And it was like, how did you know that? How did we get to, I mean, that was a huge, I mean, we're actually about to reopen the doors to that program very soon. And it's been completely rebranded. The price has gone up. I mean, it feels, I'm like, this, I can feel with every single molecule of my being. I'm like, this is about to be massively a game changer. And I've seen this program change women's lives over the last year since we first launched it. But now that it's being properly branded and presented and magnetic, I mean, I can feel the magnetism, and I'm like, I'm so excited. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. And I could not have got this offering to this place without your help, for sure.
That's awesome. So Ashley says, I'm like that too. I say how it is, and I love others who do. Go, Elisa. Yeah, it's like, it's uncomfortable sometimes, especially if you really appreciate your clients and you love them and you see their brilliance, to say, hey, this is not really in alignment, or this is not really at the level you are meant to play, because we don't want to upset the client, we want to be liked. I talk a lot about that, the people pleaser, the good girl, but this is not in service to our clients, as you said.
Yeah. It's like there's that quote that, and this reminds me of that, there's this quote of like, in order to be loved, you have to surrender your need to be liked. And I think that totally applies to coaching. Like, you're not always going to like us. You're not going to like what we have to say. But as long as you're receptive and open to the coaching, you'll quit. And that's where I walked away from those conversations and was like, oh, that is what I needed to hear. And it was my responsibility as the client to sit with that and sort through it, as opposed to being like, Elisa, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, no, that's what I hired you for. And I think that's where a lot of the people, like a lot of people they don't get what they pay for when they sign up for programs, is they start the finger pointing as opposed to like going inside and saying, this is the guidance that I signed up for. So yeah, that was big. That was a big moment for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because a lot of time we are like, oh, she's not validating me, or she's not validating what I think, but it's like, that's why we hire a different perspective. It's not like to get advice as my husband can give me advice. It's
Right.
to have someone who challenge our point of view, who shift our mindset, to shift our view of things. And then, as you said, is our job as empower clients to sit with it and work through it and see, okay, this resonates or this actually doesn't. And, I always go to my mentor and say, no, I actually don't feel like this is exactly, resonating. Can we rework it? And not enter in the victim position,
Yeah, that's huge. And something that I've taken with me, I had a personal trainer, and I think about this when I hire coaches, when I work with coaches. My personal trainer, I had told him, I'm like, if I'm not wanting to like flick you off by the end of our session, you haven't done your job. And that's not always the case with coaches, but like, if at some point in our journey together, especially when it's extended period of time, if I'm not like, we're probably not like digging deep enough, where it's like, ooh, that makes me so uncomfortable, but I needed to hear that, or you're really pressing me outside of my comfort zone or what I thought was possible for me. And it'll piss you off. But that's, I think, like, and for everyone, it may not be the emotion of being pissed off. Like, it may, just make you feel something that you've never felt before, trigger some things that you haven't felt in a long time. And yeah, I think that's a big part of it for sure. Ashley asked how long we've been working together. We did, was it 6 weeks in magnetic branding? 6 weeks in magnetic branding. And the most shocking change you made from being called out. So I had a program called that's my fundamentals program. Hi, Tyler. My love is here. Hi, babe. Fundamentals was like positioned as kind of like a beginner's get yourself to your first 5K months type of thing. And Elisa literally was like, you're meant to do way more than get people to fucking 5K months. And I went back and I revisited the program. I like went as if I was a student and went through all the modules, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Because it was already that. I was just branding it as like, playing small and scared of like talking about how powerful this program was. And, this is your first 5K months. It was not that. It was way, way more than that. So that was like the biggest change, that I was just like, This is huge. This is huge. And it's been over the last, few months, it's made a big difference in my business, how I run my business, how much money I make, the ease of speaking to the thing, when it's out of alignment, when it was out of alignment, I could feel like this resistance or something was off. And that's what I said to Elise. I'm like, something is off and I just don't know what it is. And it was that I had been playing really small with something that was meant to be dialed up, and taken bigger. So.
Yeah. And you also raised the price now, right?
Yes. Yeah. So at the time it was $1,111, $111, and now it's $4K.
For how long?
For again,
for how long was the program?
The program was 3 months, and we just and they had forever access. So we made some changes. It's now 6 months, but you don't have forever access to all the modules, so you got to go through them. And yeah, it was 1,000 and now it's 4,000.
I was like, Jessa, 1,000 for all this goodness and your magic. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and it was it was 3 months, forever access, weekly calls for those 3 months, plus a group chat. Elisa was like, no, babe. Oh no. And when I look now, I hadn't done a bunch of market research. I don't consume a lot of content or see what other people are doing, which may be something that can be helpful for some people. I get too much information and it gets confusing for me. But I have since rebranding it, and I'll see, oh, she's offering this. And I'm like, this is way more in alignment with kind of what the industry standard is, the pricing. Before, the pricing was so inappropriately low that I think that it was suspicious. Why is the pricing so low? What's the matter? What's going on? What's wrong? What's off? And so now, it also, pricing speaks to the person that we're calling in. We're not necessarily calling in beginners anymore. We're calling in people who are a little more seasoned, maybe have taken some different courses and are looking to dive a little bit deeper into their business and their journey as well. So thank you, Ashley. It's been wonderful and exciting.
And also, I remember that the huge part for you was also start expressing yourself in a much bigger way and more open and vulnerable.
For sure. I definitely have always been very vulnerable and open with my audience about my mental health journey and, stuff like that. Stuff that was kind of farther away in the past. But talking about things now in the moment and vulnerable and I'm exhausted as a projector, or I'm not in a normal relationship, I'm in a polyamorous relationship. Those were things that were I have to keep those secret, I have to keep those separate. And Elisa was like, no, talk about those things. That's interesting and exciting, and more people are looking, and this idea of when we set ourselves free to own our truth, we set others free to do the same. And that's been huge. I mean, I got so many messages, so much feedback from me being like, hey, I've been really secretive about my relationship because it's not the full picture. And I mean, still to this day, I get messages from that single post that you had us write.
Wow.
I saw that post and that resonated with me so much. And it's opened up, and social media is all about making these connections, these deep connections with people. And when we allow, that really gave me the space or provided me the space to own my truth and speak my truth in a way that just was so magnetic to my people, for sure. That was huge. Like I said, to this day, I still get messages about that post.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even last week, I went to brunch with my godmom, and she brought it up. She's like, it started conversations in my house. And I was like, oh. Yeah, huge.
I remember you messaging me on Instagram literally people are sending me messages saying, you are so magnetic. What happened?
Yes, they were. They're like, you're so magnetic. Everything is just, so you're on fire. I can tell. And a big piece too, which I was like kind of I was hesitant. I was hesitant to kind of step forward into the like goddess side of my brand. And then we did, and it wasn't even something I really talked about in the group calls, but at the end, you had us do this exercise where basically we just, loved on each other and gave each other these words of affirmation, and everyone was like goddess, like the word goddess comes up, and I was like, let's lean into that. So from that time, we've done like goddess affirmations and meditations, and really leans into like this goddess thing that's just been magnetic, for lack of better terminology. I mean, people just have loved that and really resonated with that. So that was really powerful too, of like being able to step in and own that some more as well. Ashley asked, what was the breakthrough that allowed you to write that post? She prompted us to write a post about, what was the prompt? I don't remember exactly. What was it?
I remember like we were on a group call and like you mentioned that, like you mentioned like I am in this kind of relationship and we were like and you were like, but I'm never share it because I don't know if people are gonna take it good, or they're gonna take me seriously. And I remember it was like me and Bas, the support coach, and we said, but this is awesome, this is you, like do you understand how many people there are out there who are in the same situation and are waiting for a leader like you to speak about those stuff?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. And too, I mentioned it and everyone in the group was like, I have so many questions, I'm so curious, we want to know more. And it was just like, oh, like people do want to know about this, they want to talk about it, they have questions. And as opposed to feeling like I felt some not so much like guilt or shame, because in my life it's just like part of my life, but it was just like, I want to keep this separate, I want to keep it separate from my brand and my business. That really gave me permission, so to speak, to see like, no, this is something people, they want to talk about, they're curious about, and it's an opportunity for me as a leader to speak up and say like, here's been my experience, it's not for everyone, if you have questions, I'm happy to share. And really more so open up space for my community to have a safe space for my community to have a conversation that's really not happening anywhere else in the industry. There's one other coach that I would consider a leader in the industry who's talking about these kinds of things. And so like to be the other person who has a different perspective and different experience, I think was refreshing as well for other people to see.
I love it. And so what would you say you liked the most about the 6 weeks in magnetic branding? What was like your overall vibe and experience?
Oh, so many things. My favorite thing, I love the group calls. I love hearing from you and everyone else. And I love how, like, sometimes during other containers, experiences that I've been in, it's very much like ask your questions, answer your questions, whereas you really, it's almost like we're FaceTiming with each other and there's other people in the room, like it has this very intimate feel to it. I love that you provide the opportunity for us to not just connect with you, but the others. The co-coaches were phenomenal. I've been in other programs where the co-coaches were like, kind of a substitute to a cheap substitute to the coach, but that's how it felt. Whereas like your co-coaches really were an addition. Like it was like a special bonus. So these people are here and they're awesome and they're engaged, and you really felt like, I really felt like these people give a fuck about me and my experience and my success. which is not always the case, but it definitely felt like that was the case. And it was an amazing 6 weeks for sure. It was very, very powerful. And even like the assignments that you would give us, sometimes it'd be like, Elisa, what is this that you're having us do now? But then you do it and it's like, oh, okay, I see. And kind of that trust fall that we do with coaches of like, I don't know why you're having me do this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. And then on the other side, you're like, okay, this makes sense. I get it now. That was really a fun part of the journey as well.
Mm. And how it was your experience with the Gene Keys?
So I was very new to Gene Keys at the time. And it was extremely eye-opening. And I like how we had a focus on the pearl, because when you're first diving into Gene Keys, it can be kind of overwhelming with so much. And I love that we were able to just like narrow in on that part of it and how that like, reflects in our branding. And to be honest, I still feel like there's so much more like depth and work that I get to do, that we just like scratch the surface in the program. And I still like I said, just, at the beginning of this, like I revisit my notes, I go back, like we just scratched the surface. And so that 6 weeks is still delivering a return on investment, because there's so much depth to the work that we did together.
Hi, Alexandra. How are you?
Hi, babes. Hi, Mary. I see Mary's here. Hi, guys.
That's awesome. So what would you say? I know, we mentioned at the beginning, but like for people, because I've had people like messaging me and asking like, I don't do like, how does it work with the branding? Like, I don't understand how these, apply to the brand and to the branding.
Yeah, I didn't fully understand it either, but on the other side, like the way that you break it down, it ends up making sense. When I signed up, to be honest, branding didn't make much sense to me. I just knew that branding is kind of like how others perceive you, how your presence in your business makes them feel. But there was nothing really tangible for me to hang on to develop my brand, so to speak. And I honestly don't have the words to properly articulate how you made it make sense, but you just did. And I suppose through the conversations, through the homework, the activities and things like that you'd share with us, and really I'm somebody who's super visual, and I learn through like conversation and talking things through. And that was a big part of it as well. It was like, oh, like this is how I'm being perceived, and this is where I'm showing up small, and this is how I can go bigger. And also the confirmation of, human design and Gene Keys to say like, you're literally here to do this work. Like it's in your DNA. And so you get to show up stronger, more confidently, bigger, better. With the confirmation that like, yeah, like for me specifically, like you are here to teach. Intelligence is a shadow that you get to transcend. And so, I mean, it was phenomenal. That piece of it.
And also owning, I feel, your intuitive side,
Oh yeah, majorly. And I had in previous experiences with previous mentorship, I had some disempowering experiences where like my intuition was saying one thing, and I was told like, you're not ready for that. You have to wait, until you hit, multiple 6 figures, et cetera, to do that. Whereas like Elisa was like, no, like run, go, like you got it. You feel that? I feel it too. Let's do it. Yeah, and that was really potent as well, and very empowering and refreshing. It felt like kind of like the chains were broken on like these old stories and things that I was carrying with me Because at one point, another mentor or coach or guide had said, like, no, not yet. And you were like, no, yes.
Yeah. It's like my intuition is telling me so, but you know, it's like what for me, like whatever program, whatever, you know, magnetic branding 101, like the biggest piece is truly like empowering you, the client and you, to trust yourself, you know, to trust your authority, to trust your strategy, to trust, to know yourself so deeply through human design and gene keys that you know what is for you and what is not for you.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to share this as well, because this is something that's been coming up a lot recently, and why, like, when we messaged recently, I was like, you've been on my mind, and you were like, me, you too. And I've always said, like, one of my brand mantras is no rules, only energy. And it truly wasn't until I worked with Elisa and went through magnetic branding that I felt I was able to fully embody this mantra of my own. Because I've been trying to follow rules and check the boxes and do the checklists that simply weren't working for me as a projector in a world that's, you know, an MG type of world. And so that's been super powerful. And even like recently, we're preparing for this big launch, right? And so the rules would have it, you know, that you'd have this new brand shoot and you'd hire someone. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I feel most powerful and badass when I take my own pictures. I have the money to pay someone to take my pictures right now, but I feel like such a badass boss bitch when I take my own pictures. So I went to, we have like a selfie museum here in Atlanta. I booked a ticket. I got my tripod. I went and I took the sexiest pictures I've ever. Awesome. It's so fun. So fun. So I went and took my pictures. And when I left, I was like, I have goosebumps talking about it now. These pictures are so fire, and I can't wait to release them and share them for my launch. And I probably would not have felt that way if I had, you know, followed the rules and hired a brand photographer and done what I was supposed to do, as opposed to following what's been a part of my brand and what I really believe to be true, and what you empowered me to fully embody is there are no rules, it's only energy. And that's been huge, 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 huge as well.
I cannot wait to see the pictures now.
I'll send you a sneak peek afterwards.
Yes.
So you can see. They're so good. They're so good.
So where people can find you, connect with you, know more about your program?
Yeah, so I really hang out on Instagram primarily. I do stories behind the scenes. You can catch me doing all kinds of fun stuff and trainings. I like to teach and do pop quizzes and stuff there. But I will let you guys know that I'm also leaning into TikTok.
You have to teach me. You know it? You have to teach me. You have to teach me, because I'm like, at the beginning I was like, TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. I don't like it. But now that I see you that I trust and other people that I trust that really like it, I'm like, maybe, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like stories, but like the whole platform is like stories. It's so, I'm having a lot of, and then I had one go viral recently, and I was like, okay, this is fun. I had 200 subscribers.
Wow.
In 24 hours from a 15-second video. I mean, that's like, where does that happen? Where does that happen? For free. You know, and you're just being goofy and silly, and people are like, let me get on your email list. So there is, I know we've a bit, and this is, I have to say this too. I know we're just, but I love it because I'm excited. And it's been so, our work has been so impactful. But a big piece as well was that, like, our energy leaks. So during my time in magnetic branding, I was still trying to like force my Facebook group to work and my Facebook page. And Elisa was like, where are your energy leaks? And I was like, those two gotta go. And it literally, as soon, like, if that was like, I don't know, the second or the third week, I felt so much lighter, so much better. My content, like the radiance and the magnetism on my content just dialed up, because I wasn't spread thin trying to do all the things. That was
Yeah.
huge and continues to be huge. And also since then, I'm so much more mindful about where I invest my time and my energy, because especially as a projector. And now I'm like, okay, TikTok is good, but I very much am so mindful of my projector energy. So I'm like, if I'm going to do TikTok, where is that energy going to come from, so that I'm not creating, you know, a leak where I'm exhausted and burnt out.
Yes.
So yeah,
yes.
That's been huge.
Yeah, I remember that was a huge aha for you. Like, it was not even in a call. I think it was in the Facebook group that, you know, you were talking, and I said, there are some energy leaks here. And you're like, what? What are these energy leaks?
Yeah. Yeah. Majorly, for sure. And also to hear that, like, I had so many, you know, like, well, if your Facebook group isn't working, do this, do more, and like to hear, like, shut that shit down. I was like, what? Especially from somebody who has such a, you know, active Facebook group. I'm like, really? And I think a lot of what we do when we're being coached or have a mentor or whatever, it's like we try to mimic like what she's doing. And to have one of my mentors say, like, don't do what I'm doing. Like, this is clearly not working for you, so just shut it down. I was like, wow, okay, awesome, let's do it. And that has helped so much, for sure.
I love it. So Daika says, wow, I'm in Atlanta and had heard of it, but didn't know that's what it was for. Love it.
Yes. I wonder what part of Atlanta are you in, Daika? It's so fun. If you're in Atlanta, it's like $25 for an hour. You gotta go. It's a blast. If you do go, like, most people go with, you know, their friends to take pictures, but if you go with yourself, I definitely recommend you bring your own little tripod. And I have like a Bluetooth remote that I use so that you can take your own pictures and not have to worry about the spacing and stuff like that. So
that's so cool. And then I know you also stay connected with a lot of women within the container.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. One in particular is Diana. That's my girl.
Yes.
My projector sister.
She told me.
I love her. Yes, we're so close. Yeah, that's been the sisterhood, the community that you built, and something that's really important for me too, like, as a woman of color, as a Black woman, I found that specific spaces don't necessarily feel like they're open to women like me. And your space felt very inclusive and safe and open-minded, and even like a space where I could have conversations where I've been on group calls before, like especially closer to when like the George Floyd, you know, murder happened, and we were having all the protesting here in the cities, where, like, you know, these more uncomfortable but necessary conversations were happening, and the coach was crumbling. Whereas I felt like with Elisa, we could bravely have conversations about things that in other spaces we were unwelcome or not safe to have, because the coach didn't necessarily know how to handle it and hadn't done her work or their, you know, inner work or allyship work in order to feel like, for us to feel like it was a safe space to have those conversations. That is and continues to be a big thing for me, when I look at, you know, hiring and rehiring coaches, and something that Elisa is masterful about.
Thank you so much. And yes, I remember, like, during the call, we actually had this conversation, you know, around what was going on, and it was very, you know, emotional for you guys. And you know, I'm not obviously in the United States, so I cannot, you know, be there and understand exactly, but I can hold space for you to live your own experience.
Yeah. Yep. And that's exactly what you did. So thank you for that.
So when do you launch Fundamentals?
The doors open Monday, a week from yesterday.
Woo!
officially. I know. I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked. And we're celebrating. So it's the 1-year anniversary of Fundamentals, and it's my 3-year business birthday. So it's a big day. Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, I'm getting emotional. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's
So who is this for? Like if people want to join the program, like who would you invite in?
So we're calling in the woman who is in a space in her business where she feels like there's some momentum going, but it's inconsistent. She doesn't feel a lot of confidence, or there's a big piece of clarity that's missing on the offer, on the messaging, on her sales process. There are 4 pillars to the program. So soulful sales, mindful marketing. As a projector, I've mastered the art of doing less but better. So I love to show other people how to do that. And then the confidence piece, and the 4th piece, the 4th pillar, which I'm also still really passionate about. Before I was coaching full time, I was doing systems and automation. So that's a big part of the program as well, is like the tools and the systems and the masculine piece to support the feminine creative flow side of our marketing, our sales process, and all of that. So we can show up knowing that all those things are automated and good to go. And that's really what this program is about. It has changed. I've seen the program, we've brought through over a dozen women at this point. I've seen this program change women's life. And so I'm so excited for this next round. We're calling in. We had a couple people come in early, so we have space for 14 more. And I'm so ready for them. My arms are wide open. I know they're there and they're listening. So I'm excited.
Yay. And yes, I think as a projector, you know, one of the special gifts of a projector is really this efficiency and, you know, how to see a system and make it work better. So I think you really have this powerful combination between the soul, the intuition, and the more masculine system part of the business that is fundamental.
Yeah, and that's a huge piece of like how we've branded it. Is it's very much both. So you get like the systems, my signature CCC framework that yields massive results for those people who put it in place. And it's very energetic and intuitive, and it's like use our system, but also feel into it and play with it and experiment so that you're able to do something that works really well for you as an individual entrepreneur. And that was like when something that I learned, you know, from you, it's like we have these tools, but they're intuitive. So you get both, like you get the directive of like, do this, but also the development of like tapping in and going to your intuition and feeling into things for yourself. And that's what like creates better, stronger, more powerful leaders and healers by teaching them to go within as opposed to constantly seeking the validation outside of themselves.
I love it. But this is also key what you said, you know, because there are a lot of business mentors that are like, do what feels good, you know, but it's like, yes, but also you need to give me something, you know. It's like there are also like left brain stuff, you know, strategy, implementations, things that needs to happen, and then within those I can play with my feminine and with my intuition.
Yeah, huge. Majorly. And I think that that's really where like my sweet spot is, and I found this through going through magnetic branding, is that and the duality. Remember we talked about my duality of being like masculine and feminine, you know, black and white, like sassy and smart, like all these things. That was a huge piece for me as well, of owning that as a coach. I can do both. I can, you know, provide you with the masculine of the systems, you know, and tell you what pieces to put in place, but also the feminine of guiding you through your own intuitive process as well. And like owning that has been also a major game changer for sure. And not feeling like I had to choose, right? Or that people wanted one or the other. it's really, and even from my experience, you either get one or the other, and you need both in order to really build a strong, what I call pleasurable and profitable business.
100%, 1,000,000%. We are very similar in that.
For sure.
So what would you say to someone who is like on the fence about doing magnetic branding?
Get your ass off the fence. If you have that intuitive ping, ding, whatever you're feeling, that burning, that excitement in your gut, in your heart, I would not hesitate. I would not walk, I would run. This was a major game changer. And as I said earlier, it continues to bless me. The wisdom, the guidance continues to bless me and be what I would consider like a lighthouse in my business and how I do things, the decisions I make, how I manage my team a bit. That was a big piece as well of like hire support. Like you need team members. So now I have team members. I've got a beautiful, beautiful team that helps me. And I seriously, like, I could not do another probably even quarter of business without having the team in place that you encouraged me to hire. So anyone that would be considering or thinking about magnetic branding, I was somebody who was on the fence. I was like, I want to work with Elisa.
Yes.
I'm not sure this is it, you know, but I had that intuitive, like, this, like, do it. This is a great time to do it. There is no such thing as the perfect timing, but when your intuition feels called, just follow that. And then you can commit to showing up for yourself. And two, like, you know, I mean, Elisa is a powerful leader. She gets amazing results. I'm a testimony to that. And no bullshit. No, that was like a big thing for me. I don't do bullshit. I don't like bullshit. And Elisa was no bullshit. And that is really something that if you want more magnetism in your business so you don't have to work as hard, this is it. This is it for sure.
Thank you so much, my love.
Thank you. Thank you for
What's
everything.
your Insta and your TikTok so people can follow you? They're
both at Jessa _Glover _.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both that. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this incredible conversation.
Thank you for this.
I love you so much.
I love you. I love you. I'm going to send you those pictures.
Yes.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.